Hi everybody, and welcome back to this week's edition of First Person, our weekly interview segment produced by PressProsMagazine.com and sponsored by the Buckeye Insurance Group in Piqua, as well as the Coverman Dickerson Agency in Piqua, Troy, and Covington. Our guest this week is Coach Allen Mack from Miami East High School, a gentleman who has a distinguished record among Division III and Division IV basketball in Miami County and the area, has won a state title, been to the state finals 3 times. I'd almost call you venerable, but you look too young. You've held up pretty well.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. And thanks for the time. It's great to be with you.
Glad to be here.
Always fun to come to Miami East because you got a great tradition of basketball here. I know you're very proud of it. Your community's very proud of it.
Yeah, they're very passionate about basketball and really just all the sports events out here, and really support the teams well. I think that's a big part of it.
You know, Alan, one of the things that I appreciate most about guys like you is the experience that you have. As I said, you've won a state title, you've been here a long time, and people today in coaching say there won't be any more Allen Macks, Bob Segersons, and guys like that. We talked about that with Steve Fisher a few weeks ago in the future, because you just don't see guys that have that kind of commitment that long to one school.
Well, it's a challenge to stay in one place that long and to work at it, but you know, I've been fortunate. You know, I was off for 5 years when you know, first took administrative position, and then had a great opportunity. Was fortunate enough to be able to get back in it. But yeah, it is a challenge, and but also certainly a blessing as well.
The thing that I noticed most about you is when you came back, and I've known you for a long time, seen you coach for a long time, the look in your eye to get back on the bench and back in competition. You missed that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I really missed the Friday nights, Saturday nights with the kids and the competition. You know, and I enjoy the sport of basketball, the teaching part of it. I've done a lot of that in the time away, but there is a certain thrill of being on, you know, alongside the court on a game night, and definitely it was a thrill to be back out there, and still is every night.
A lot of things to talk about with Allen Mack. Not enough time to talk about them. We're going to take a break, come back in a moment after this word from the Buckeye Insurance Group and the Coverman Dickerson Agency representing Buckeye in Troy, Piqua, and Covington.
If you are looking for quality insurance protection from a reliable company, sold by professionals in communities like yours, that's what you'll get from Buckeye Insurance Group.
Buckeye Insurance Group, insuring the heartland.
To find your local Buckeye agent, visit buckeye-ins.com. Buckeye Insurance Group, insuring the heartland.
Insuring the heartland.
Welcome back, everybody, to this week's First Person. Our guest is Allen Mack, the head basketball coach at Miami East. You know, one of the things that we talked about a moment ago was experience and the fact of coaching again now, to come back to be in the game after 5 years off. What did you miss? What has the game changed in the time that you were away, if at all?
Well, I don't know that there were a lot of big changes that way. I think, you know, looking at the college level, the game's become a lot more individual, and you see a lot more drives to the basket and that type of thing. But, you know, from our sense, at the high school level, when we're still, you know, running disciplined offense, we're still playing 1-2-2 zone defense and having some success with it. So, you know, as far as what I missed, I really missed the your relationships you develop with your other coaches, your team, your the players, even the community, and other fellow coaches. So, yeah, it's a special part of being back.
For a person with your success as a basketball coach, most people are going to assume that, hey, this guy must have been a heck of a high school basketball player. You were not per se, but you were in a very good program. I'm going to ask you how you got to be such a good coach out of coming from Covington, playing for Bob Hulsman.
Well, I think, you know, whether you were a star or, you know, watched a lot, you know, and played, you know, off the bench, really what is a factor in becoming a coach is how well you learn the game and how well you take that in, understand the roles of all the players, you know, that lead to success. And you know, I've certainly been blessed with great talent here, and can't take a lot of the credit for the success we've had, because I know that players win ball games, Sonny. But certainly looking back at, you know, my experiences at Covington, that was an important part of shaping, you know, me as a coach. I give a lot of credit and have, through the times that we've been to the state tournament, people ask about it, and credit Bob Hulsman, Steve Fisher, and others, and some assistant coaches that have worked with me in the past, Paul Hirschberg, and David Shivington, and Rick Hickman, and now Todd Stucker, Justin Roth, guys like that, as a coach, if you're really going to be successful, you're going to continue to learn, continue to analyze your teams, learn about your team, learn about what it takes to be successful. So certainly that early background I had at Covington was instrumental in the success that we've had. Certainly can't give enough credit for that.
People here in Gastown are going to want to hear a little bit about your basketball team this year. You're off to another good start, 10-1, and in typical fashion, you don't have any big numbers. You don't have any marquee names. You guys do it on grunt and grit, and have I missed anything so far?
Teamwork.
Teamwork, yep.
Yeah, that's that's the intangible. That's the fact a lot of people don't consider. I mean, they talk about X's and O's and coaching strategy and that kind of thing, but your ability of your kids to play hard and play together can never be minimized. And I am really proud of our team this year. We're off to a 10-1 start, and they do play the game the way that I like to see them play it. And we sometimes, particularly if the other team looks to push the ball or looks to shoot quick, we can score. And we've been over 84 times this year, and we got a great group of kids, and they've been hungry from the beginning, and I think very unlimited potential here, for what might happen. But again, you take it one game at a time, and it's too early to really look at things from a big picture. Well, how well are you going to do compared to other teams that from Mine East, etc.
Before I get away, I want to take an opportunity and ask you this, because it's a great question to ask veteran coaches. You're fortunate to have won that title back in 1996, and does that seem like 14 years ago?
No, it doesn't. With a daughter that was a baby when we won the state title, and now she's in high school.
Playing basketball, yeah.
Yeah, it just seems almost like yesterday. And, I have to be a little careful when I talk about, when this team experienced this success, and they're kind of like, we might not even have been born then, and
right.
So you don't spend too much time talking about that.
Well, the fact of the matter is, a lot of guys never get to that point. And I guess the $64 question is, have you ever been able to appreciate the fact of looking back now? Because I know we talked with Steve Fisher a few weeks ago, and he said, I might not be able to appreciate that until I'm away from the game, and you can look back at it and not be worried about the next opponent.
Well, I consider it, certainly a real blessing that we had that opportunity. I feel like certainly at the conclusion of every season, I look back and think, wow, how did we accomplish that? When this season ended in sectional finals. 2 years ago, we ended up, in the regional finals, and lost by 1 point there. You do then look back and say, wow, we were really fortunate.
Yeah.
In '96 in the state semifinals, we had a controversial shot at the buzzer, but even for that shot to go in, let alone for it to go in and be counted, at the buzzer, and then to beat the #1 team 2 days later in the state championship with a team that would finish regular season 13-7, you certainly are, pleased with that, and do have a sense of perspective that it is hard to do, and you do feel fortunate that you had those kind of situations and opportunities.
It's one of the great traditions in area small school basketball here at Miami East, and the guy who's largely responsible for it, Allen Mack, congratulations. A great career. It's always fun to sit down and watch your teams play.
Thanks, Sonny.
Appreciate the time. That wraps up this week's edition of First Person, again sponsored by Buckeye Insurance Group and the Coverman Dickerson Agency representing Buckeye in Troy, Piqua, and Covington. Join us again next week for another edition of First Person. Until then, for Coach Mack and our sponsors, thanks again for logging on to PressProsMagazine.com.
The Coverman Dickerson Agency, with offices in Troy, Piqua, and Covington, is pleased to be the sponsoring Buckeye Insurance Group agent for this first-person interview. For farm, auto, and homeowner insurance, Coverman Dickerson is one of the area's fastest-growing Buckeye providers, with a history of service and competitive rates. And we're also an outstanding source of coverage for families with young drivers. For farm, auto, and home policies, call the Coverman Dickerson Agency, proud to represent Buckeye Insurance Group.